Howdy doody, good morning, good morning. Hi Karen Fortune. Hello, hello, how are we all? I'll just turn the audio off here. Morning, Nanny Bluebell, Claire Smiley, Margaret O'Brien. Why isn't this? There we go. Glad to hear you're okay, Darren Boy. Darren Boy, good to hope you're good. Morning, Emma McDonald, Kerry Gracie. Just tilt that down a touch. SB Archives, Emma Flanagan, April Hill, Maria H, Katie Johnston, Dawn Claricoats, Gerard Le Film. I love your name. That's so sort of posh, but in a cool way. Brenda and PA. It's funny, you know what's really weird about all of your voices coming up? Richard Kavanagh, good morning. Thank you. Oh, I'll take that. Thank you. The greatest YouTubers on earth. Wow. Thank you very much. We like to try and keep it real. And let's, right at the start, hit the thumbs up if you like what you're watching. Don't if you don't. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the weird thing about seeing all your comments come up, it's like we hear your voices. It's like voices coming in because, of course, you're typing individually, you're each typing your one message, and we're seeing a multitude of messages hit the screen. And they all kind of go. So do always know that we try and, distribute comments. Obviously we home in on comments that are interesting, funny, apt, appropriate, but we also try and give everyone a fair crack. So I hope we do a good job of that. And also these lives are an opportunity for us to connect with you directly, because I know that we get frustrated sometimes. I went on to one of the green-fingered hells where I was kind of apologising to a number of you for being a bit of a moody old bastard with Nanny Di. Where we don't really get as much time now to respond to comments on individual films. So we don't want you feeling that we're ignoring that. We're going to try and find time, but we do read them and we do see a lot of them go by. But this is a really nice opportunity to kind of engage with you directly. So how are you all? I'm gonna have to clear my glasses. I can't see anything. How are you all? Dopamine hit when you read out my comment. KSOC. Boom. Good dopamine hit. Tony Voskanian, I'm new here. Hi, welcome Tony. Hope you have fun. I love your surname. We are like a big happy family. Hazel Caldera, you're absolutely right. I've got a bruise on my arm. Maddie, a bit rough and tumble with your kids. Maddie had a bit of a freak out the other night, and I rolled with it. But when you're a dad and you're a parent, you ever get that thing where you rough and tumble with your kids, but they actually hurt you? I suddenly got the sense of being an old dad. Tracy Waters, living the dream. Carrie Platt, hello to you. Paigey, morning. Nadia is en route to Luce, and she will be back later. Cold and wet in Australia. Darren Boy, I'm good, thanks. Mark was down hospital yesterday, nothing bad, just bad problems with my leg, but all good. What are you up to today then, Mark? I'm editing and I'm writing today. I'm doing a lot of proposal writing at the moment. We're trying to pull together a documentary proposal. It's very hard with the TV stations at the moment because, of course, you can't easily pitch stuff that involves any sort of foreign travel. But we're doing something on drinking cultures, or we're developing something on drinking cultures. The thing is a lot of stuff we develop for the TV stations, and then we take a view, especially now where we're at with this channel, with the fact that we have over 100,000 subscribers. We get to a point sometimes where we look at each other, and once we come out of lockdown, we're really seriously considering, the merits of, because I can make stuff myself. As you see with the Sunday show, for those who are family members, we make the Sunday show from scratch each week. 1 hour, essentially, magazine show, which would normally require quite a few people editorializing it, pulling it together, shooting it, editing it, and all that kind of stuff. And because we have my job has been, from exec producer to director to editor and all those things, we can collapse all those skills into one thing. So sometimes, obviously there's the short film, the dramas that we make are for us, but we're also considering working on something. Well, there's a bit of a surprise coming. We're thinking of doing something with some well-known actors and actresses, which is a sort of post-lockdown comment on lockdown, if you know what I mean, from a mental health perspective, but more on that later. But yeah, no, so when we come up with these proposals for ideas, which we're constantly doing, It's like, so I'm talking to someone about potentially authoring a film about drinking cultures around the world, but through the lens of not being a drinker. You toy with, obviously you want to get things moving with the broadcasters, but the broadcasters are really slow. Imagine the broadcasters like slow dinosaurs moving around. By the time sometimes they move towards a project or an idea, its impetus or its relevance has kind of shifted. So anyway, so Darren Boy, that's what I'm working on today. Jamie Knight, you've proven you don't need traditional media. Absolutely, no, you're absolutely right. In fact, we're talking to our management team next week about folding in more responsibility with our own ideas. I mean, the other thing about ideas, it's not just about control, it's also about authenticity. And I think that's the thing that me and Nadia have found so joyful about this. Obviously, you get the haters, obviously you get criticism. But the thing is that the reason we know how to kind of deal with those is that in television, when I was making every television show we've ever made, we get letters sent to us directly by the broadcasters of what everyone thinks, and we get all of the kind of audience feedback. A lot of it isn't pleasant about talent and about people like that. So although trolling is often seen, or negative comments are seen as a part of social media, I've been receiving letters about presenters I've worked with for the last 20 years. So it's about knowing, sniffing them out and smelling them out. So we have quite a bit of a track record with that, being able to do that. But the joy of it is the immediacy, and the immediacy of being able to talk to you guys and sort of react and respond and all that sort of stuff. So I think you're probably going to see over the next year or two us trying to keep all of this sort of natural, real world us going, but also seeing us exploit our skill set to kind of deliver you content about other stuff. For example, Alan Parker died last week, which was really tragic and sad. And in a slightly different situation where I had the freedom to be able to move about a bit more, we would have probably done quite a neat little, I'd interviewed him a couple of times. It would be nice to have done a neat little film about him, a sort of obit, but by people like Dexter Fletcher, people who'd worked with him, you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll never lose, the real stuff is the real stuff is the real stuff. But we're wanting, alongside that, to be able to sort of, why not make stuff for you guys? Do you know what I mean? Tony Voskanian, I agree, Mark. It's nice to interact and have that opportunity. There you go, Nanny Bluebell. I've got me washing out. It's going to nevertheless hot, laters, overcast in Lincolnshire at the minute. Penny Legate. I love the way you're all having little cross chats. Cross chats, it's really nice. So Nad sends a love. Did anyone see the eggs being thrown last? I'm presuming I'm not glitching like a nutter at the moment. Is that right? Thank you, Emma Claire Webb. Did you get a telling off for the eggs? A little bit. I've filmed a little bit more for the vlog afterwards as well. She was wandering around like a lost soul, bless her, like a lost soul of a shoe. So anyway, so in terms of the news today, obviously, the news flow, I love the fact that Izzy, my eldest, she tunes in on this to get a sort of digest on the news. And that's what we try to do. Hi, Lainey Feeney from Australia. I was just trying to see if you thought we'd glitched. No, of course, the main news today, as is to be expected, is the tragedy in Lebanon. And, the death toll has gone up, and the more reports you see about that, the more horrific you just realise the infrastructure. I mean, I know we've earmarked 5 million for recovery. I think they're looking at billions of infrastructure damage to their port. And so, it's just, that is a sort of casting a pall and a shadow over the day. So that obviously is the main news. So the fact that we're not popping it in the title, that doesn't mean we're not caring about it or thinking about it. It's it's top of the agenda, and it will be continuing to feed into the news flow today. Another story that has come up, and I just think it's always good to see, it's Michelle Obama talking about suffering depression over Trump's hypocrisy. Just going to have a sit. Less about getting into the politics of all of this. But it's interesting, isn't it? We often talk here about what it must be like for America, feeling like, they haven't got a grip on the virus. They've got a leader that an increasing number, not all, obviously. I mean, there are supporters of Trump, but an increasing number of Americans are finding Trump's slightly sort of ricocheting and contradictory approach to things a little bit embarrassing, to say the least. Michelle Obama has been talking about how what she describes as the hypocrisy of the Trump government has led her to feel what she can only describe as being out of body and out of mind. And so she feels she's dealing with some form of low-grade depression. And I just think it's intriguing when you see her describe the way in which her and Barack and the family are doing puzzles together, the way they go into their own separate rooms, and then they all come back together at the end of the day. It's just a reminder that regardless of who you are, even ex-presidents, who you are, what your status is, how high up you are, however privileged your life has become, and let's face it, the Obamas will be sorted for life. Depression can creep in, and I know I'm not sort of speaking sort of behind her back. I know Nadia's been really struggling with the crisis in the last couple of days. So yeah, it's I think it was just intriguing to see Michelle Obama feeling depressed about things, but I think the Trump situation is aggravating it for her. And I'm curious to know whether she'll run for. Does anyone think she'll ultimately run for president? Do you think she might be the first female president, and obviously first female black president? Jacqueline Frost, good morning. Sometimes I struggle to understand what your messages mean. Love you, okay, Mark. Address Jessica Frost. Okay, don't worry. Jessica Frost. Hello, Jessica Frost. Are you there? Hannah, Nadia is on her way to Loose Women at the moment. No way, she knows what's involved. Thank you, Claire Smiley. I don't think she will. Yes, Joanne Clement. Yeah, I don't know. Who would you ideally like to be president? Someone in the public eye. I'd quite fancy Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Does anyone else fancy that? I'd quite like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think he'd kind of headbutt people and be able to do the peck pop, with his pectorals, and sort international strife out. I reckon be able to get Putin in a headlock. Keanu Reeves, that's a good one. Dawn Claricoats. Michael Keaton as president. It'd be like Beetlejuice leading the country. Michael Keaton's he's a good one. No more celebrities as president. No, I know. I'm just sort of. It's a kind of toy game. Dwayne "The Rock" is Canadian, is he? Sarah Doolally. I think people would say you're Doolally for suggesting I'd be president. What was the cliche yesterday? Oh, I don't know. What was the cliche yesterday? Let's have a quick look. What date is it today? Is it the 6th of August? God, it's the 6th of August, guys. When did we get to the 6th of bloody August? Huh? So let's have a look. So what happened on the 6th of August that's of any significant news? Bolivia declared independence. Did you know that? Let's get some facts out. First Battle of the Atlantic in World War I. Peruvian War of Independence. Let's have a look. Cuban Revolution in 1960. 1962, Jamaica becomes independent from the United Kingdom. That's a significant one. 1996, NASA announces that a meteorite thought to originate from Mars has evidence of primitive life forms. Did you know that? Happy birthday, Angarad D. 2012, NASA's Curiosity rover lands on the surface of Mars. There's no major events. Hang on, 1945, World War II, Japan. World War II, Hiroshima. Japan is devastated with the atomic bomb. That is significant. 70,000 people lost their lives. So I'm sure there will be remembrances happening in Japan for that. I keep forgetting that I've said I'll do what happened on this day some years ago. So in 1945, an atomic bomb, little boy, was dropped on Hiroshima. So anyway, who's prepared for this weekend? The weekend that is going to be so hot. Have you heard that there is something called, do you know what they're calling it? The Saharan blowtorch. The Saharan blowtorch is coming in across Spain and it's about to hit Britain. Do you know that? I've got terrible insomnia. I slept for only 4 hours last night. After July the 31st, listen to this, guys. After July 31st, record-breaking, hit the thumbs up, guys, if you're happy just sitting with me, chewing the cud and trundling through a coffee. UK weather forecast, Saharan blowtorch could push Britain closer to 40 degrees centigrade. After July 31st, record-breaking heat was underplayed for forecasters. Some are now suggesting 37 degrees expected on Friday may actually be 40. Morning, Mads. It's going to be 40 degrees tomorrow.
40?
They're saying they're calling it the Saharan blowtorch.
That's really worrying, isn't it?
It's. Do you hear that? This is the generation there. It is worrying. What the hell's going on? Is anyone else getting that sense of, yeah, it is 40 degrees? Mind you, my car read 40 last Friday.
How do you even survive that?
I think
It's not built for that kind of
we're not. Roads might melt. I remember in the 70s, roads and tarmacs melting.
It's going to be so hot in houses.
So hot in houses.
So,
So 40 degrees, guys. The Met Office has promised possible highs of 37 for tomorrow, several degrees hotter than Alexandria in Egypt. Why not just call it a normal Aussie summer day temperature? Oh, there you go, you see. Yeah, but you see, the thing is, in the 70s, I remember looking at tarmac in our playground and watching it do this. I mean, I'm sure tarmac in the 70s was rubbish. But do you remember that, Julie Everts? Yeah. Sarah Curtin, my car read 38 in West Yorkshire last Friday. My car read 40. Scorchio, Ali B. Yeah. Very, very hot. I mean, obviously not as hot as India, parts of India or the Middle East. 40 degrees in London. Come on, guys. And that's going to be a particular type of heat. Now, the press are notorious in this country for always wanting to up the ante. But yeah, 40 degrees, the Saharan blowtorch. So what will you do? What evasive action will you be taking, guys? What will you be doing to avoid the heat? Eh? I'm thinking of escaping. Well, my room is always very cool, but I work in there. I'm thinking of escaping to a cinema. There's a film called American Pickle coming out this weekend, starring Seth Rogen. Looks nuts. Check out the trailer on our Popcorn Junkies. Hazel Caldera, you remember Melty Tarmac? Yeah, I remember Melty Tarmac. Yeah, I'm taking frozen peas to bed. Here's a top tip. Take your pillowcase, shove it in the freezer, and pull it out at the end of the night. Yeah, dry but cold. Lovely. Not a bad idea, is it? Or you could drop some ice cubes down your boxers. That'll put a smile on your face. Is the cinema air conditioned? Yeah, my concern though is our air conditioning units not just recycling all of our COVID air? That's the worry. Swim in the sea if you can get near the sea. I don't know why. I always get a bit sort of like, Nadia calls me a bar humbug when she says, oh, let's go to the sea. And I'm like, I don't fancy sitting in traffic for hours on end. Jen's Marked. Mark. Seema Hussein, you live in London in a high flat and it gets very hot like an oven. Sweetheart, Nanny Di is in a flat. I mean, it's not a high flat, but it's a flat and essentially has no outdoor. It gets very hot. She has two fans in her flat. Are you going to watch Unhinged with Russell Crowe, Mark? I wasn't, but I might. I could do. Yeah, no, I could do. I'm just having a look at what other news stories there are. This is a weird one. England's first wild beavers in 400 years allowed to stay in river. What about that? Beavers. England's first wild population of beavers for 400 years has won the right to stay in a Devon river. They're so cute, but they damage things, don't they? I love that. Is there a Disney beaver? There's a beaver that appears in most kind of Disney films. He always pops up and he's just like really cool. Did you as a kid? When I was a kid, I used to think that there were cartoon characters that actually existed and they would pop up like actors across films. So I genuinely believe Thumper appeared in other films as a sort of background extra. That's how I felt. Do you ever feel that? I don't think you did. I think I'm on my own. Has anyone else seen that Animal Crossing has has made like billions or something for Nintendo? Does anyone else play Animal Crossing? How many people here play console games, computer games? I used to love my Atari. I know we talk about nostalgia. It might not be too relevant to a lot of you, but I love my Atari. Do you remember a Commodore 64? Does that mean anything to anyone? Seals have been resting on the back of rowing boats in the Thames, Deborah Holdsworth. That's such a sweet sort of wind in the willows-like image, isn't it? Seals, just like reclining, like that. Hello. I've got to do a workout straight after this. Sometimes I dread it. Sometimes I hate it. Leggy Blonde Jen, you loved your Commodore 64. Loved my ZX Spectrum. Nanny Bluebell, you've still got your Atari. Darren Boy, you play Xbox, PC, Nintendo Switch and PS4. Well, they did pop up in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, very good point. I like that film with Bob Hoskins. That was a good film, wasn't it? I'm not a console person, Joanne Clements. Yeah. I think if I'd been around as a toddler, not as a toddler, but as a kid now, and I'd had the same upbringing where I was on my own a lot, I'd have just got so addicted to gaming. I think gaming would have been my thing. I think as a kid, even as a kid of the 70s and 80s, I was addicted to gaming. I was always looking for an imaginative escape. Does anyone else have that? I was always looking for like fantasy lands. I didn't mind who was there. I think Minecraft would have appealed to me. I was always looking to kind of amplify and escalate reality. Did you get that? Sega Master System 2. You're a Call of Duty widow, Deborah Holdsworth. You might be a window too, but I think you're a widow. Oh, are you? You see, I have a PS4, and I got stupidly excited about there being a PS5 this Christmas. I never have bloody time to play it. I must admit, it was really nice playing Spider-Man recently with the girls. And I'm not one of those people who thinks that, game playing is just bad. It's like when we played Spider-Man, there's a lot of logic and troubleshooting. I live in the US and we have been having 105 degrees with insane amounts of heat. Oh, God. Crash Bandicoot, love that as well. Faith Goodman, keep windows closed, curtains pulled to keep hot air. Very good. Top tip, great advice. Great advice. We had a Spectrum. I remember the noise as the tapes loaded. Oh my God, don't. I never thought Sue Wood morning and a big lift up for the day. I know how you're feeling. I posted on Instagram yesterday. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go to Mark_Adderley. I posted yesterday. I was feeling pretty damn morose. I just couldn't shake it. So, and again, I have to have my routine. This helps, talking to you guys. Doing a workout, that helps, and listing all of the kind of tasks I have to get completed, that helps too. What were your favourite arcade games, guys? I used to love Pac-Man, yeah, Penny Legate, Pac-Man, that was cool. Do you remember Tennis? I think that was one of the first ever sort of arcade games, wasn't it? Pac-Man. Do you ever remember that one where you would point a sort of, what was it called, where you'd point a sort of triangular thing and it would hit asteroids and then they'd sparkle and then you'd hit them again and then again, was it asteroids? I think maybe it was asteroids. Tetris, Christine Bet. That's good. Puzzle Bobble. I used to collect Smurfs. Did anyone else collect the little Smurfs figures? We're meeting Izzy later in Portobello, and there's a shop there that sells Smurfs. And what's weird about that, it was in one of our vlogs recently, well, not recently, before lockdown, was that where the shop is that sells the Smurfs, right, stick with me, was on the very road where with William Dibley, I showed him my Smurfs. What's that like? What's that about? Pong. I remember Pong. What was the story about W.H. Smith's yesterday? Was there something up with W.H. Smith's? I kept seeing it pop up. Have you been in the garden or is it too hot? It's too hot. McDonald Farm, I heard some staff thought they had... Oh, sorry, lost that. Why am I looking up there? Still got your Smurfs, Claire Smiley. I want the Smurfs. They were strange, weren't they? They were kind of cool, but at the same time you knew they were dubbed. Did they come from Finland or somewhere like that? Oh, W.H. Smiths are letting go of stuff. I thought so. I know, it's tricky, isn't it? It's a struggle. It is going into administration, Lee Marie Rawlings, like Virgin Atlantic. Oh dear God. Mortal Kombat, Lee Marie Rawlings. Yeah. I've still got the Amstrad computer. That's Alan Sugar's, isn't it? Amstrad. I love Papa Smurf, Lisa Kane. Oh, that's Maddie just passing in the background. She liked the Smurfs film too. Too busy catching up on last night's live. I've missed the start of this one. Courtney Cooper, but the joy of YouTube is you can go right back to the beginning and just watch it. Hit the thumbs up, guys, if you're enjoying this. Amoeba Records in LA closed. Do not say that, Danosaurus. You are joking. Look. Where is it? Amoeba has closed. Flipping heck. Oh, and I tell you what I discovered as well. My own tailored little comic book shop where I knew the guy ran it. The girls got all of their, in our homeschooling odyssey, graphic novels and comics were a massive part. Orbital Comics in central London has closed. And that's like, there are very few independent stores. I mean, totally empty. Totally empty. Ah, you used to get the Smurfs from petrol stations. Maybe that's why I didn't have many. We didn't have a car. Have you ever been to Stoke-on-Trent, Lee Marie Rawlings? My family originates, not my immediate family, you're right, darling, originates from Stoke-on-Trent. It was the Adderleys. If you go to Stoke-on-Trent, I think there's Adderley Green and Adderley Road, way back when William Alsager Adderley was a potter. Of course it is, sweetie, yeah, absolutely. I don't know if anyone's seen, but the girls have had piercings. So exciting. We vlog it. Warner Brothers Harry Potter. What was someone just saying there? You know Amoeba Records in LA?
Yeah.
The great big shops closed. I know.
Like
Closed down.
That's really sad.
That Orbital Comics. It's those kind of independent stores that don't stand a chance. Because I reckon landlords are using this as well. To be fair to landlords, they're trying to make their money, aren't they? They're on Sunset Boulevard, aren't they, Amoeba? It's so sad. Such a cool shop. Lee Marie Rawlings. Yes, there is Adderley Green. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, you know, unfortunately, William Alsager Adderley, my great-great-granddad, shot himself because he was trying to keep up with posh royalty. And then my granddad, Gordon Adderley, his mum, so my great-grandmother, she married beneath herself and the Adderleys cut them off. You know, so there was no, you know, so we, you know, my granddad became poor basically and grew up in a pub and had an alcoholic father and so everything went wrong after him. But the origination of the Adderleys is in Stoke. So yeah, Lee Marie Rawlings, Adderley Green was named after my great-great-grandfather. And my granddad, Gordon Adderley, used to talk about being him and his brother, because they were essentially ostracised because of their mother marrying beneath herself. They used to talk about being allowed into this huge house, I don't know, it's Adderley House or somewhere, and they would be given a farthing by a woman who he said was like Queen Victoria. And she'd give them each a coin, and then she'd tell them to bugger off. Yeah, class system in this country is horrible, isn't it? And then my granddad's brother, Rex Adderley, was the youngest commando in World War II. There's a big piece on him in the paper. So yeah, sorry, I don't know why I went down there. Wensleydale Cheese Factory closed as staff have COVID, but visitor centre open. Shit! That means almost Wallace and Gromit have got COVID. Oh my God. God, Janine Amory, do you remember Cabbage Patch Kids? My first girlfriend loved Cabbage Patch dolls, and she loved Care Bears.
Yeah.
I used to buy her Care Bears for like her birthday and stuff. She was my mad first girlfriend who bought me a fleshy heart, cow heart.
That's so you, though.
It's so me, isn't it? It sort of set me up for life, really.
Because you were.
She knew me well. And it was just gooey. And she said, open it on Valentine's Day. And I put it in the fridge. I said to my mum, I said, Jane's given me this. I don't know what it is. Just put it in the fridge, opened it on the day. It was just a freaking heart. Care Bears, raw heart. Care Bears, raw heart. Care Bears, raw heart. There's no in between. Apart from she loved Elvis Presley. So maybe he's the thing that connects the two. I don't know. Very odd, very odd. Claire Smiley, you've got 2 Cabbage Patch Kids. That's so cool. I'm going to look up a photo of a Cabbage Patch doll. They're so weird. I thought it was because they looked like cabbages, but it was because they were born in cabbages, weren't they? You found them in a cabbage patch. A bit like Moses in the reeds. Moses dolls. They'd be quite cool. I was fascinated by the story of Moses. I always felt really sorry for him that he was just found in the reeds. Sort of related to him. I've still got my pound puppy. What's a pound puppy? It does ring a bell, doesn't it? How's Nanny Di? She's all right, she's short. She's shorter than normal. She's walking around in circles. And I think, as someone said, I think she might have a wrong knee. I think they might have given her the wrong knee. I think there was a film in the 70s, wasn't it? Give Us Back Our Dinosaur or something. I think she needs to start a Just Giving page. Give me back my knee. I asked her when they took her knee out, will you be given your knee in like a glass?
I think they've given either a too short or...
Yeah, Maddie's convinced she's been given too short a knee. or too long in it. Basically, she's just got one leg longer than the other. I mean, they could give her height. They could make her other leg longer. She could just keep getting taller. It'd be like she was on stilts.
Yeah.
So, guys, prepare for the heat wave. Share a thought from Michelle Obama. Let's seriously send all our prayers to everyone in Beirut as the aftermath of that keeps just unfolding. Thundercats, I remember Thundercats. You had an emu puppet, Janine Emery. When you look back at the 70s, though, and we know what we know about a lot of entertainers in the 70s, it seems slightly odd that a man with his hand up a bird would attack everyone. Don't you think that? So many odd things about the 70s that we just let go. A man with his hand up a bird would tickle people on television. Wouldn't be allowed now, would it? I mean, an emu would have...
How gullible young people.
It just shows you just how not only young people, but we all sat there on television watching it thinking, oh, that's all right. You know? Yeah. So yes, love to all those with depression, absolutely. Stay across all of our various platforms. Me on Instagram, Mark_Adderley. Nadia, obviously, Nadia Sawalha, off the telly. That's not her name though, on Instagram. Popcorn Junkies. And we will be uploading stuff throughout the day. I think we might be arriving at a first vlog later today, in a while. And Chelsea girl, you had a huge honey monster. I love the honey monster. It's so sweet. I loved cereal commercials in the 80s and 70s. Just loved them. Richard Kavanagh, thank you for starting this live with such a robust affirmation. That was lovely. I love that. Yeah, it's funny. When I was in the 80s, Joanne Clements, I never thought the 80s would be cool. All I saw in the 80s were people with enormous hair, like Lady Diana. And I just thought, this is never going to be considered cool. This is shit now. And I was in it and I had hair like that. I was like, this is shit. And I had pastel coloured jumpers and I'd look at them and think, this is shit. I knew, I had awareness that the 80s was shit when I was doing them. And now they're cool. And I get it. They are cool. I want to hear the sound of a VHS cassette recorder opening. I'd love that sound. It's such a familiar sound. Because you knew as it came up, there was the settling in of the tape. It would go down. The machine would unfurl the tape and you think, we're going to watch something in analog order. We can't rewind and watch at the same time. We just have to watch it in one go and it's just fun. I miss those days. I miss my analog days. Thumbs up, guys. Hit the thumbs up. Keep hitting the thumbs up. If you like us, if you don't like us, just go away. See you later. Arrivederci. Ciao. Have a